Good morning class. Welcome to our class today. Now this will be a joint class for both biochemistry students as well as the food chemistry students, because we want to look at a common topic, that is carbohydrates. Now carbohydrates are energy reserves. They are energy reserves. That is, they are very important in energy formation for use by the cells or for use within our body. Now, we want to look at the classification of carbohydrates. Now, carbohydrates are classified majorly into three main groups. Now, we have number one, monosaccharides. Number two, we have oligosaccharides. Number three, we have polysaccharides. Then number four, we have polyols. But for us, we won't concentrate on polyol that much. Our main concentration will be the first three. Let us begin with the first one, monosaccharides. Now, actually, the word saccharide comes from a Greek word, saccaro, meaning sugar. So when we talk about saccharose or saccharides, talking about monosaccharosis or saccharoses, meaning you can also call them as monosaccharosis or sugars, the simple sugars. So these are simple sugars. Now these sugars are further classified into subgroups. They are further classified into subgroups based on the number of carbon atoms that they have. For example, the simplest one should be having 3 carbon atoms, and we call them the trioses. An example we can give here is dihydroxyacetone, and also we have glyceraldehyde. Then we have tetrosis. Now these ones, they have, as the name suggests, tetra means 4. They have 4 carbon atoms. And the example we have here is the triose sugar. And then number 3 is the pentoses. These are now the 5 carbon sugars. And a good example is the ribose. Ribose is a very important sugar, which is a part of the DNA or RNA, and those are the nucleic acids. And then the one with the 6 carbon atoms are called exoses. Now most monosaccharides actually are found in this subgroup called exoses. Here we have the glucose, we have the lactose, we have fructose, we have glucose, and then lastly we have those which have 7 carbon atoms. Now those ones are called epitoses, and a good example is the pseudoepitulose. But our main concern sugar we are going to be mentioning are these pentoses and exoses. Now before we can look at each of them, I want us to get to understand another concept we are going to use in the monosaccharides. Now, monosaccharides, apart from being classified based on the number of carbon atoms that they have, they can also be classified based on the position occupied by the carbonyl carbon. So we are going to have aldoses and ketosis. Now this is based on This one is based on the position of the carbonyl carbon. Carbonyl carbon. Carbonyl carbon is this carbon atom, the oxygen forming a double bond with the oxygen atom. For example, example we can give is the glucose and fructose. Let me just do it here. Glucose has 6 carbon atoms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, this is the chain form of glucose. Glucose can also occur in ring form, which we are going to mention later. Now, you can see carbonyl carbon is at the terminal end of this particular molecule. So, this one we call it aldose. This is a glucose molecule called aldose. It's called aldose. So you can see that glucose is an aldose because carbonyl carbon is in carbon number 1. It has a terminal end. Now sometimes, for the case of the ketosis, the carbonyl carbon is in between, but not at the terminal ends. Example is the fructose. So you have seen this with the glucose. Example is the fructose. Let's just draw the structure of the fructose. Again, fructose is also a 6 carbon sugar having the same molecular formula as the glucose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the main difference between now the glucose and fructose is that in fructose, the carbonyl carbon is in between. You can see it's in carbon number 2. And then at carbon number 1, we have the glycerol. So this is a fructose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the difference between aldose and ketose. We have said monosaccharide can also be classified based on the carbonyl carbon atom. That is the position occupied by the carbonyl carbon in the structure. Okay. Now, in our next discussion, we shall look at the pentoses and hexoses and also give the examples and also the structure, because they must have a chemistry, they must have structures and description of the structures. So in our next class discussion, we shall be able to see the various types of hexoses and also the various types of the pentoses. Thank you.